Hi again, everybody. Mike Gallagher for FullAccessSports.com. And as we come in here to the big week of football, always against Linfield College, number 2 in the nation and undefeated, with me, head coach Glenn Fowles of the Willamette Bearcats. And before we can actually talk about Linfield, let's briefly divert back to last week. PLU comes in here, a good matchup. It looked like we had all of the tools in place, and we did. But somewhere along the line, they took advantage of a few things, including some turnovers, and we ended up on the 11-point short end of the stick and our first loss of the season. That's got to be tough.
Oh, yeah, it is. And you know, it's one of those things that the first half we made too many mistakes, and they capitalized, and, you know, we dug ourselves into a little bit of a hole. And, you know, our goal in the second half was just to play a lot better than we did in the first. And, you know, we ended up doing that and coming out of it. But, you know, anytime you turn the ball over 6 times against a team like PLU, it's hard to beat anybody with a lot of turnovers, let alone a team that is quality the way that PLU is.
Of course, we lose at 35-24, but we outscore them 17-7 in the second half, taking advantage of some of their mistakes.
Yeah, you know, and that's the way football is, and you know, it's one of those things that, you know, you do the best you can, and you know, I still think there were some opportunities that we left on the field, some points that we left on, and you know, for us this week, it's kind of just getting back to. Back to fundamentals and try not to make those mistakes because, you know, ultimately you don't mind necessarily losing a game if you play good football the whole time. And it's when you don't play good football where you have to improve. And that's when you go back and just, pay attention to the details that you need to pay attention to moving forward.
There were a lot of highlights, good highlights for this last week. And you can always point out one person or another, but Tyson Giesa for the second time. This is student athlete, special teams player of the week. 74-yard kickoff return, 44-yard interception return. One guy away from a touchdown, and this guy is so nonchalant about it, but boy, is he a weapon.
Yeah, Giesa's a great player, you know, and it's one of those things that we'll really miss him. Great on the defensive side of the ball. He's making noise on the special team side, and yeah, absolutely. He's a fantastic player that is making big plays in big games, and that's what we're hoping for.
And of course, Josh, despite he threw more interceptions in one game, 5, than he has all season. He had 3 coming in, and he had a tough day, I think, emotionally as much as physically.
Oh, you know, and again, people have tough days. It's nobody ever goes out and tries to not have a great day on the field. It just sometimes happens, and circumstances happen. And you know, it's the great thing about Josh is that it's one where, you know, it's like everything else. We can't go back and change anything, and he's just preparing better this week. It's time to move on, and you know, it's one of those that unfortunately, you know, we had a lot of mistakes that were made on the football field, and it's just when you have a guy like Josh, they're more noticeable, even if they're not necessarily his fault. And you know, Josh is a great guy, great leader, and he's a guy that just is right back at it, and he's preparing better this week than he did last week, and he's been doing that all year. Every week he prepares harder and better, so we expect great things this week out of it.
And all I can say about Linfield, you've played against him, you've certainly coached against him more than you played against him this year, undefeated, scoring a ton of points, number 2 in the nation. You could go on and on about Linfield, but I think the first thing is that they're an arch rival, but you've got them here.
Yeah, we do, and you know, for Linfield, it seems like it doesn't matter where they play. They've got good players, they've got good coaches, they're good on offense, they're good on defense, and you know, they've built a real good team this year that I know that they're expecting to go out and make some noise nationally. And right now, honestly, all the credit that they're getting, it's well deserved. They are playing really good football, and they're a real good football team. And you know, it's going to be rocking here, and it's going to be a competitive game, and you know, we'll go out and play our butts off and play really hard, and I know that they'll do the same. And it's kind of like the PLU thing. A lot of times when teams get together that know each other, you can throw everything else out, and you know, it's just going to be settled on the field.
They must have an Achilles heel somewhere on one side of the ball or the other. I'm not asking you to give away too many things here, Coach, because they may be watching this, and I'm sure they are. But seriously, everyone's got a weakness. Do they have many?
Oh, you know, it's probably that they've got too many good players and how to get them in on the rotation. I'm sure I'm sure Joe's going, hey, there's not. So it's something that, no, they're a good team. They're a team top to bottom that's ready to go, and you know, what we got to do is we got to go out and play our game and not worry about what they do, just worry about what we do, execute our stuff, and if we do that, we'll be okay.
What are we executing well right now? Despite last weekend, which we were really executing, it's the little things that kind of kill you, but what are we doing well right now, especially on the offensive side of the ball?
You know, offensively, we still dish it out pretty well, and we have some good backs. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, as we go through things, we, you know, having the ability to get a lot of people involved in the game plan is important for us. And, you know, so that's going to be one of our strengths, and that's something that Josh has done the whole time is find open guys. And again, like this past week, PLU, you know, Deshaun had a bunch of catches. catches, and Traeger had a bunch of catches, which was really good. So we find a way to get the ball out. So that's something that's been going well for us on the offensive side.
And on the defensive side, you got so many weapons. I had two of them on for our halftime special week, Giza, Jack Nelson, but there's more than those guys on defense.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, in the PLU game, Jack Nelson had a heck of a game. Giza played really well. Tate Stevens played really well, and Mannion played really well. We had some guys that went, and our defensive player of the week for the PLU game as our team was Matsumoto, who came up with a critical interception and played probably his best football of the year on that day. So yeah, they're doing well and they're playing real well together right now. So we're excited about moving forward.
Moving forward, obviously consider the P word, playoffs. And we talk about it. You don't like to. It still is one game at a time. But with 3 games left, the next 2 are very crucial for that. And certainly Linfield, that has to be in the back of the guys' minds.
If it is, then you're in trouble, because there's going to be a ton of good football teams that are left home, in this. And the only way that you make sure you go is by doing your job every Saturday. And it's one of those things that for us, we don't worry too much about the playoffs. We're worrying more about Linfield and what we have to do. So I don't think anybody's looking that far. I think they're looking this week only. And our thing is let's finish these 3 games up really well to the best of our ability, and then see what happens. And it's in the Northwest Conference. You have an automatic bid, and to do that, you've got to win the conference. So if you don't, then it's left up to voters, which don't always get it right.
True. If you had to give last-minute instructions for this game to the team in general, what would you tell them this week, one way or the other?
Hey, just relax and go out and play. These guys have been playing football a long, long time, and it's one of those things that go out, do your job, have a lot of fun playing, play together, and at the end of the day, we'll be proud of what we did.
Head coach Glenn Fowles, before we take on number 2 undefeated Linfield, the 25th-ranked Bearcats playing hopefully the home spoiler this week, and with Coach Fowles. I'm Mike Ellinger. Thanks for joining us, everybody, here on FullAccessSports.com.